Well, it's going to be boring for a little bit, but that's a good thing for UCLA basketball.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever you get your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for your support. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And hey, if you're a new customer, you can bet $5. If you win, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. Check it out on FanDuel.com. To win your first $5 bet as a new customer, get $150 in bonus bets to get started. Where we get started today, we're talking UCLA basketball. Once again, another dominant victory for the Bruins coming off of that ugly loss against New Mexico, where they only lost by 8, but the Lobos were in clear control from the get-go. The Bruins then got another dominant victory, and now this time against Lehigh, the same time that the football game was going on, the Bruins beat a now winless Lehigh team that is 0-4, moving the Bruins to 3-1. Mick Cronin's Bruins won it 85-45. They scored 85 points, and they still haven't showcased the ability, other than maybe game one, to be lethal from three, which this team can and should be able to do. Back-to-back dominant wins for the Bruins, who are once again without Dylan Andrews. And with the team being so deep, UCLA has to go into the depths of the starting lineup, who could be starters for the rest of any other team in the Big Ten, or most, to play the backups late in games. They're going to dominate these teams by more than 40. It's going to feel like they're running up the score because Brandon Williams, Devin Williams, and Eric Freeney are all redshirting this year. And we'll talk more about that in future episodes, what that means for UCLA's future recruiting class. But right now, the Bruins are running roughshod over all of these mid-major opponents. And it will be boring for a little bit. UCLA, once again, they went with Daly Jr., Bilodeau, Johnson, Stefanovic in the starting lineup because Dylan Andrews is hurt, leaving Sky Clark as the starting one guard. Where did UCLA go to in this game? Pretty balanced attack, led by Daly Jr., who had his best game as a Bruin, 17 points, 10 rebounds. He was 6 of 11 from the floor. Didn't have any turnovers or steals, though. He was a plus 41 when he played in the game. Daly Jr. in 26 minutes was plus 41 for the Bruins, and that is why he's always in the starting lineup. Quiet game from Bilodeau, 15 points on 7 shots, had 4 fouls that limited it to him just under 19 minutes for Bilodeau. But when UCLA is winning this game by 40, I don't want to see Bilodeau playing more minutes than he has to. Glad to see him be very efficient scoring-wise, and he hit one of UCLA's 3 threes in this game. Kobe Johnson, not asked to do a lot, played under 24 minutes in this game, had only 2 steals for a UCLA team that I thought would force Lehigh into more turnovers. They didn't, but the Bruins overall for this game shot 55%, shot 26 free throws, making 20 of them, so a good conversion rate, and held Lehigh to 15 made field goals for the game. UCLA led this game from the get-go and dominated. So a lot of minutes from Trent Perry and Sebastian Mack off the bench, each playing 24 minutes. And then, all right, like Mack scoring 10 points, Perry didn't have his best scoring night, but he had 5 points and assists, played a lot, has to get out the kinks and work his way into what Mick Cronin could use into more valuable, meaningful minutes against bigger name opponents, but that jump shot just wasn't falling today. And most importantly, what I did see was, one, Dominic Harris hit his first true 3 as a UCLA Bruin. Hopefully that gets him into a hot streak later on this season when the UCLA Bruins need him in a game against a much better opponent in a closer game. And 2, Aday Mara in under 13 minutes, 7 of 8, 16 points, and 6 rebounds. That's the dominant man. You want to come in, play 10 minutes. You get that type of production out of Aday Mara, 7 of 8, 7 of 9. Heck, even if he goes 4 or 5, 5 of 10, he's putting in 10 points off the bench with easy buckets, and UCLA can get more paint points. I'm liking that because last year Aday Mara couldn't have done that. He wasn't ready, and this is still Mara who is getting up to speed to earn his minutes, one, and get his conditioning up, which I still think is getting closer to 100%, but probably not to Mick Cronin's liking. Overall, It was a balance of UCLA using 10 players for 12 or more minutes. Nobody played anywhere near 30 minutes, and UCLA was able to dominate. I just don't like in this game two things against Lehigh. And yes, I'm going to nitpick, and I think Cronin would probably do the same thing. I don't like UCLA's inability to cash in from downtown. That has been something I've been talking about, hyping up. And with the guys they've had, Sky Clark, who hasn't shot a lot, UCLA didn't really shoot that many threes. They shot 13, but it was Dominic Karras who missed a couple. Stefanovic, who's been red hot to start the season, missed a couple. And then with Dylan Andrews, who hoisted quite a few threes in his first couple of games this year before missing the last two, I wonder what that means. That would free up more Sky Clark three-point attempts. When he's the point guard, he's not going to take as many with Dylan Andrews out. I just don't like the inefficiency from three. This is a team that is supposed to be much better than last year's team from three, and they are. They most definitely are. They hit, double figures in the three-point makes in game one, which was a struggle, absolute struggle for this UCLA team last year. I just want to see them get red hot and showcase to the rest of the country, yeah, okay, we could score 85 against a bad team and not need the three-point line. They used the free throw line this time. You're not always going to get sent to the free throw line 30 times or such in a game. Light it up from downtown. Not saying they need to shoot more, but I'd like to see a more productive game from downtown consistently, night in and night out. And for a pressing trap defense, I know Cronin doesn't like to run up the score. He likes more deflections and dives in grabbing the rebound, right? Deflections and passes, block shots, all those to earn, that hustle bone of sorts. In this game, though, UCLA only forced 11 turnovers. While they laid the clamps defensively, Lehigh only shot 29% from the floor and only shot 15 free throws in this game. Lehigh's already lost by 40 to Northwestern. They almost went and won a couple of games on the road as well, but Lehigh has already lost by 40 to a Big Ten team UCLA is going to play this year in Northwestern. So I wanted to see those turnover numbers up. I want to see a 15 turnover forced game. I want to see Kobe Johnson get like 5 steals, which is asking a lot. Those are big numbers, but against these opponents, with the relentless defense UCLA can play, in the first half, I'd like to see the Bruins just run up that turnover total from the opposition, and then they can back off like Cronin likes to, because he knows he doesn't need to go really all guns ablaze, just boom, 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 to go and get a bazillion turnovers when he's up by 40 and put his guys in harm's way when there's a lot of turnovers. One thing I did like about this game, UCLA only 8 turnovers. Now, I'm not sure Lehigh was going to pose the biggest threat in this game when you can lob it up to Mara. The Bruins had 14 assists on 31 made field goals, not as many as they had in previous games, but they turned it over less, which is great because they had been turning it over quite a bit. So UCLA needs to force more turnovers, but when they're playing clean basketball and not giving, whoever they're playing across the court more chances to score, obviously that's going to be a lot better. So cleaner game offensively for UCLA, but they need to turn more defensive opportunities into fast break points, and they just haven't been able to do that. UCLA overall had 15 fast break points. They could dominate points in the paint, plus 32. And even though Lehigh didn't have that many turnovers, I think for what I'm liking, UCLA converted those into points, 16 points off of the 11 Lehigh turnovers. UCLA was leading this game by 28 at the break, 44-16, complete dominance. And then the rest of the game was just, all right, we're at 40. Let's just coast and cruise to victory in this game, knowing Lehigh was not going to come back. We even saw Jack Seidler in this game for close to 4 to 5 minutes. We will see some walk-ons get minutes this year for UCLA because they're going to win by 30 or 40, when they're playing the Lehighs, the Fullertons, the Idaho States, hopefully, of the world coming up before Big Ten play starts at the beginning of December. Boring makes good for UCLA. It just won't be the most fun to discuss, except for the little mini things, which turnovers, good and bad. Less turnovers for UCLA, good. More for the opposition, needed for the UCLA defense. And that's all depending on how much they trap and how relentless they are for 40 minutes. This game, they did not need to do so. And the three-point numbers have to improve. They have to. They don't need to be hitting 10 threes a game, but a 35%, goodness gracious, would not hurt this team at all. They could have put up 90 if they shot 35. If they hit a couple more threes, they're putting in 90. All right. But I like the effort and the intensity UCLA has shown and proven with what the other teams have done on the offensive end, which is nada, zilch, nothing. UCLA has clamped down defensively, and their opponents have felt the wrath of a UCLA team coming off a loss in Nevada. I don't know what about you, but I wouldn't want to be the coach or the team playing UCLA in the upcoming schedule after they got embarrassed in a game in Nevada with a Mick Cronin coach team. When they get embarrassed, they return and they play much better. I'm going to have to look up those numbers in a different podcast, but when it's UCLA losing in Nevada early in the season, the Bruins winning percentage after coming back home is lights out. And the improved play after that, they usually turn into one of the better teams in the country. Now we just have to wait for them to play those good teams. All right. It's time to check out FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, if you're a new customer and you've never really checked out FanDuel, right, you can be hammering these lines. You see UCLA probably a big favorite, and you're like, hey, they're playing Lehigh. Do we dare think they're going to win by 40? Or are you going to get busted like another segment of Bad Beats? I don't know, but FanDuel, if you're a new customer, you put $5 down. And if you win, you get $150 in bonus bets to play with. Again, you can make every moment more with FanDuel. As a new customer, $5 bet. You win it, you get $150 in bonus bets. So check it out. Absolutely, check it out with UCLA and more. And NFL bets, live play-by-play, everything on the same page where you place your live bets. Check it out at FanDuel.com to get started. All right, that's going to do it for this mini podcast reviewing UCLA men's basketball here tonight. It's been a good one. The Bruins are 3-1, getting the good vibes on what was a sad night with the UCLA football team dropping it, but the Bruins got the dub. Apparently, we can't go 2-0 tonight. Apparently, that is not the case at this moment this year. But for now, we're waiting for UCLA to dominate the rest of the schedule. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.